And so now we come to the strangest thing about the lost city. And I think it's fair to say that the Indus Valley Civilization is one of the most important archaeological discoveries ever made. When it was unearthed in the early 20th century, it turned out to be the world's first true city civilization. Over 4,000 years ago, people across the world began building cities that were home to thousands of people. They had planned their layout, organized their infrastructure, advanced their trade and commerce. And they did all of this before most of the rest of the world was even ready for villages. So when archaeologists started uncovering the secrets of these ancient towns, they expected to see similarities to what came later, a central palace, administrative buildings, temples, or ziggurats. But instead, they found something that resembled modern cities like grid patterns and sewage systems. In fact, the discovery of the Indus cities posed more questions than answers. What prompted their builders to adopt such advanced urban planning? How did they manage such complex infrastructure projects? What caused their sudden collapse? And how does it fit into the history of our species? Well, over the last few decades, excavations at sites like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa have been helping us find the answers to those questions. For example, let's take a look at the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro. It was one of the largest public works projects ever undertaken by any ancient civilization. Here we are standing inside the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro. Behind me is the preserved stepwell of this huge pool, which was likely used for ritualistic bathing and other public events. And archaeologists also discovered a nearby drainage system, indicating that this entire area was once flooded to create the ideal temperature for swimming. They even found instruments near the site that indicate that the water was circulated by a series of pumps. And the main pool itself could have held over 18,000 gallons of water. This was a monumental construction project that would rival modern-day swimming pools, but that's only scratching the surface. There was also the city's unique brick houses, some of which included indoor bathrooms. There was also their innovative sewage system and paved streets. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the Indus cities was their script. Archaeologists have uncovered hundreds of clay tablets covered with a strange script, but so far no one has been able to decipher it. Until recently, scholars thought there might be over 500 distinct characters. However, recent studies suggest there may have been many fewer signs than previously assumed. All these archaeological treasures are giving historians and archaeologists valuable insights into the Indus Valley Civilization, a society that thrived in what is now northwest India and Pakistan between 3300 BC and 1300 BC. The Indus Valley Civilization was not just one of the world's first urban societies, it was also the largest. At its peak, it covered over 1.2 million square kilometers, an area larger than both Greece and modern Turkey combined. It was home to anywhere from 20 to 50 million people, roughly equivalent to modern-day Pakistan and the Indian states of Punjab, Haryana, and Gujarat. The Indus people spread across the region's two great rivers, the Indus and the Ganges, and were divided into small city-states. Each city-state was independent, yet they all shared common characteristics, such as their urban planning and advanced technologies. We know surprisingly little about the origins of the civilization because most of their cities were built over existing settlements, whose histories stretch back even further. For example, excavations at one site revealed evidence of human occupation dating back to 7000 BCE. So while historians still debate where the Indus people came from, they agree that it must have happened sometime before 4500 BCE. According to recent research, the origin story of the Indus people may be connected to the mysterious disappearance of the Mehrgar culture. The Mehrgar culture flourished in the Bolan and Indus valleys from 7000 BC to 2600 BC, and was one of the earliest agricultural communities in South Asia. Scholars believe that as the Mehrgar people grew in population and developed more advanced farming techniques, they expanded into new territories and eventually established the Indus Valley Civilization. But as with most theories about the beginnings of civilizations, details are scarce. That's because most of the evidence comes from small farming villages, not from cities. And unfortunately, very few artifacts from these early settlements have survived the passage of time. But there are 3 artifacts that may hold the key to unraveling the Indus Valley Civilization. First, the bull seal. Second, the dancing girl figurine. Third, the priest-king statue. Let's start with the seal. Seals are among the oldest forms of writing known to man. They date back to as early as 3500 BCE, thousands of years before paper was invented. Seals were made by carving or stamping designs onto soft materials such as clay. Then, after the design was imprinted, the material hardened into a durable object that could be kept for centuries. Unfortunately, most seals were made from perishable materials such as wood, bone, and ivory, so very few examples have survived. However, the Indus people were skilled craftsmen who carved intricate designs into pieces of soapstone, allowing a few of their seals to survive to this day. One of the most famous is the so-called standard seal, which depicts a seated yogi holding a staff in each hand. Some experts believe the figure represents Pashupati, a god of animal domestication and fertility. Others argue that he's actually a meditating sage. Either way, the seal shows that the Indus people believed in a supreme being, although scholars debate whether it was part of a larger religion or simply a collection of spiritual beliefs. Next, there's the dancing girl. She's one of the most enigmatic artifacts ever discovered. The dancing girl was excavated at the site of Harappa in 1931 and was immediately hailed as one of the most important finds of the 20th century. She stands just under 10 inches tall and is crafted from a single piece of bronze. Her head is tilted slightly to the right and her torso is twisted to the left, creating a striking visual contrast. Although she has no face and her features are somewhat abstract, her dress is highly detailed. She wears a long skirt decorated with geometric patterns and a belt around her waist. But the most remarkable feature of the sculpture is her hair. It's styled in a bun and adorned with a decorative headpiece. Finally, there's the priest-king. He was discovered in 1956 during an excavation at Mohenjo-daro and is considered to be one of the most important sculptures from the Indus Valley Civilization. He's made from a single block of marble and measures over 7 feet tall. His hands are stretched out in front of him and his eyes are wide open. He wears a necklace made from beads and a unique headdress adorned with horns. The horns are symbolic of fertility and suggest that the priest-king may have been associated with religious rituals. However, his most striking feature is his loincloth, which has a series of strange symbols that may hold the key to deciphering the Indus script. Unfortunately, despite the significance of these artifacts, very little is known about them. They were all discovered at different times, and none of them have been studied together. However, there may be a connection between them that has yet to be discovered. If we can learn more about these artifacts, it may help us understand the Indus people better and shed light on one of the greatest mysteries of human history. Now we come to one of the most debated topics in archaeology, the reason for the civilization's downfall. As mentioned earlier, the Indus cities were abandoned between 1300 BC and 1100 BC, which is approximately 300 years. However, this was not a sudden event, but rather the result of several factors that contributed to their decline. Climate change may have played a role, causing shifts in agricultural production and resource availability, leading to migration and abandonment of settlements. Additionally, natural disasters such as earthquakes and floods could have devastated cities and disrupted trade networks. Archaeological evidence suggests that rising sea levels and increased rainfall led to extensive flooding in the Indus Valley, making agriculture difficult and forcing people to abandon their homes. Furthermore, overbuilding may have contributed to the collapse of the Indus cities. As cities grew in size and population, the demand for housing and infrastructure increased. This led to overcrowding and the construction of multiple-story buildings, which may have put a strain on resources and contributed to the eventual decline of the civilization. In addition to these environmental and social factors, there may have also been political and economic reasons for the downfall of the Indus cities. For example, the decline of long-distance trade could have had a negative impact on local economies and led to instability and conflict among city-states. All these factors may have contributed to the ultimate demise of the civilization, but we really don't know. Because the Indus script remains undeciphered, these are just theories. It's possible that there were other contributing factors that we haven't even considered. Fortunately, new technologies such as laser scanning and artificial intelligence may help us learn more about the Indus Valley Civilization and its ultimate demise. For example, researchers are using AI-enhanced imaging to analyze ancient artifacts and gain new insights into the Indus people. They're also using drones to map and explore the ruins of Indus cities in greater detail. These new tools will allow us to learn more about the Indus people than ever before, and may help us solve one of the greatest mysteries of human history. One of the biggest challenges facing archaeologists today is preserving ancient knowledge for future generations. As climate change and natural disasters continue to threaten archaeological sites, it's essential that we take steps to protect these valuable resources. One way we can do this is by supporting international collaboration among archaeologists and researchers. By working together, we can gain new perspectives and expertise to tackle some of the toughest challenges facing archaeology today. For example, recent excavations at the Indus site of Rakhigarhi have revealed a vast settlement that could rival the ancient cities of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. However, due to limited resources, it may take years to fully excavate the site. International collaboration could help speed up the process and allow us to learn more about the Indus Valley Civilization. Another way we can help preserve ancient knowledge is by supporting organizations that are dedicated to protecting archaeological sites. These organizations work to raise awareness of the importance of preserving our cultural heritage and also work to protect sites from looting and destruction. Supporting these organizations can help ensure that future generations will have the opportunity to learn about and appreciate our shared history. Finally, we can all do our part to educate others about the importance of preserving ancient knowledge. By sharing what we learn with friends and family, we can help ensure that our cultural heritage is passed down to future generations. In conclusion, the Indus Valley Civilization is a testament to the ingenuity and innovation of our ancestors. By learning more about their culture and way of life, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the rich tapestry of human history. It's our responsibility to preserve ancient knowledge for future generations so that they can marvel at the achievements of those who came before them. Let's hope that someday soon we will be able to read the Indus script and unlock even more secrets of this mysterious civilization. Now please click here to watch the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.